Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Wrestling Juggernauts. I'm here with the WrestlingJesus WJ. How's it going?
Alrighty, Gerry there. I'm doing good there. We got ourselves a new channel there. Wrestling Juggernauts. Subscribe today, ladies and gentlemen. Rants, reviews, wrestling news, the whole fucking works. Gerry, what are we talking about today there?
Well, my sources tell me here that we're gonna be bashing Kenny Omega. Apparently, Kenny Omega, a big fan amongst the indie crowd, and he sucks. He sucks. He's fucking terrible. I have to be honest.
Tell you why I want to get into this, Gerry there. So, in the Facebook group there, the Wrestling Juggernauts Facebook group, somebody posts a picture, Gerry. It looks like Kenny Omega naked, basically. It looks, I guess he's wearing a thong or something like this. There's a Japanese guy, and I'm imagining this must be Photoshop or whatever. There's a Japanese guy, like on the top turnbuckle facing the crowd, and he's like crouched up with like his underwear around his ankles or whatever, with his ass sticking out. And Kenny Omega, it's like the finger thing like this with both hands inside his ass or whatever. Okay. So I'm just assuming this is Photoshop, like must be, I think. Like what the fuck is this, right? But then I see people in the comments. I see a friend of yours, Gerry Track Brown, their group member of the group. There's not really on good terms with anyone in the group. There's not associated with me. That's for damn sure. There, Gerry. He just happens to be in the Facebook group. Well, he says, who cares if this happened? This took place in Japan or whatever. So is this actually real there? Kenny naked with some Japanese guy naked with his hands in his ass? Was it some kind of comedy DDT Japan wrestling thing or whatever the fuck have you there? They tell us to worship this guy for the stuff that he did in Japan or whatever. Not for anything he's doing now, because he ain't doing jack shit that's good now. But apparently he did stuff in Japan. Dave Meltzer liked it. Therefore, the indie fans claim to like it, even though most of them probably have never actually seen this stuff for real, Gerry. Most of this shit. You know what I mean? You gotta be a real fucking loser to go out of your way that far to see fucking wrestling in Japan and stuff like that. You know what I mean? To take it to that level, you gotta be a real fucking virgin, Gerry. I mean, and that's what most of these guys are. Goofy virgin clown retards, Gerry. These New Japan fanboys on the internet there. Now, where was I or whatever? They tell us that we should worship this man for the stuff that he does in Japan. And the more things I see about him in Japan, the more I'm scared, Gerry. What the fuck kind of weird shit is going on over there in Japan for wrestling? What the fuck kind of weird shit are these indie fans into, Gerry? It's not just being a fan of a different organization. This is like a weird fucking freaky sect of the wrestling community there that are into weird sexual Japanese shit, Gerry. It is what it is. when Kenny Omega is naked in the ring, and half of these guys are always saying that he looks good, the indie fans there, these big tough guy indie fans or whatever, it's there, and they all want to have sex with him, for fuck's sake. And then you see what he does, dresses up as a woman in Japan. He has this Kota Ibushi. Is it a sexual relationship? I'm not sure there. But the indie fans want this, and they're into this sexual stuff with Kota and Kenny Omega. Back in the day, we just wanted to see good wrestling between real stars like Hogan and the Macho Man and Steve Austin. We didn't want to see Kenny fuck a Japanese wrestler. Okay, we didn't want to fucking come up with like videos of Kenny and some young Japanese guy together with romantic music. That's not the kind of shit I did when I grew up watching wrestling. Okay, Gerry? So this is some kind of weird fucking fetish thing that these indie fans are into. It's like a weird Japanese fixation. There's a lot of weird sexual stuff there. Okay, Kenny, now he's apparently getting naked, putting his hands in people's ass in Japan. And they want us to worship this or whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm not really into this thing, Jared. It's more than just being a wrestler. It's about weird shit like this. It's about how Kenny Omega is so fucking cute because he likes wrestling or because he likes video games and stuff. He likes Street Fighter, so he's a cool dude. What is he, 9 years old or something? You know what I'm saying? You know, this is killing wrestling is what it is, Gerry. It's more than just liking his match or disliking it. This is fucking killing wrestling. These fans jacking off the pictures of Kenny Omega and his Japanese ring boys or whatever. They're this thing of being fucking into Darby Allin and claiming he's a star, Orange Cassidy. All of this is destroying the image of the fans, Gerry. When I get on Twitter, I don't have an account now because it's too creepy on there. When I get on Twitter and I just read these comments of men that want to get fucked up the ass by Kenny Omega, it makes me want to distance myself away from the wrestling industry as a fan there. And I think other people might be feeling the same way. What do you think, Gerry, there with this long-ass point I'm trying to make about how this whole thing is weird, Gerry, and creepy and bad for the industry? A so-called world champion naked in the ring with his fucking he's almost right in another guy's ass. What is this? What the hell?
So a lot of people seem to think this was a one-off. He's actually done more stuff. For example, one of the things he's done is that he dressed up as a Disney princess, right? And all the rest of them dressed up like in some Disney kind of attire, and they had like a tag match. And Kenny Omega went ahead and kissed some other guy in the ring or whatever. And I just want to preference this. You're gay, whatever. It's all good in the hood. It you know. But the thing is that like if and I goes back to the old saying, if WWE did this, they'd be fucking be crucified for it on social media.
Imagine John Cena. He has his face. He's right in the Japanese guy's ass. How would we let this down or whatever? No, everybody would make fun of this. But now you have to worship this guy for this stuff, and apparently it's amazing product in Japan, and that's the kind of shit they do. Get the fuck out of here. Sorry, go ahead, Gerry.
It's okay. My two main things, but my problem with Kenny Omega is, number one, he's not a ratings drawer. Anyone with a brain will tell you that Kenny Omega isn't popular in America. Simple as that. Just because you use the term he was popular in Japan, Maybe so, but even that being said, there was way more popular Japanese wrestlers than, if you're going to get into the indie mentality of it, if I'm going to go swim in WJ and get into the philosophy of these indie fans, there's actually better Japanese wrestlers and actually better wrestlers in New Japan than Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, he had that long-ass match. Personally, I didn't like it. I thought it went on way too long. I thought it took ages. He's not a ratings drawer. Whenever he, for example, look at the stuff in TNA. What is it, like 50,000 viewers he's getting on Twitch for TNA? And then they say, oh, Kenny Omega is going to bring in the ratings, people. He didn't bring in anybody. He didn't bring anybody to TNA, okay? And my main issue, this is the biggest one, his promos. I think Kenny Omega is the worst guy to do promos in wrestling, okay? I think he's awful. The whole kind of, like, I don't know what it is, but this kind of pretending to be Japanese, and I would like, I don't know whether he's trying to be Asian or a magician. I don't know.
That's how he was over there. He would talk in Japanese, and he's trying to appeal to this crowd, but he's one of these big weeboo retards, Gerry, that you see on the internet, except he's on steroids and he has, he looks more athletic or whatever, but he's basically like them. These big goofy freaks there that are into the anime and the body pillows and dressing up like baby man with the diapers or whatever. Probably Kenny Omega is into this as well, Gerry, but probably some of his fans are into this. That's for damn sure. They're big crybabies, these AEW marks or whatever, but fuck, I got off topic there, Gerry. I'm seeing fucking.
I was gonna say, my whole thing is his promos. Like, if you look at any of the promos he does, it's the whole he's either pretending to be a magician or he's trying to be Asian, and he's like, oh, nah, I like to say that everybody likes to know. What do you think? What do I think? Like, this whole kind of I don't get it. Okay.
Apparently, that was his gimmick there. He was an otaku, they called it. Like the wrestling otaku, but like over there, like the real wrestling. That was his gimmick. Apparently, if you look on Wikipedia, they say he was an otaku character, which is a white man who tries to be Japanese. And when he would talk like this, the Japanese crowd would cheer for it or whatever, of course, because he's talking with their language, Gerry. You know what I mean? So he gets easy pops from the Japanese crowd. Does that really mean he's a big star there? Because he comes out and acts like he's worshiping the Japanese people and trying to be like them. Of course, they're going to cheer for a guy like this who's acting like that. If Hulk Hogan went there and talked in Japanese, they'd all pull their dicks and start yanking it, Gerry, in the stadium. You know what I mean? And this stuff about him in Japan, like you said, these matches against what's it called, that fucking guy who he wrestled, the 7-star matches, 6-star matches.
It was terrible. It wasn't that good. There was 2 of them, both of them awful. Awful. I thought it went on way too long. I don't know why people say that match was amazing.
Like, because they say that this match is 7 stars. Basically, this is Dave Meltzer's opinion about a match. You know what I mean? Do you truly believe, anybody watching right now, that Kenny Omega and that Japanese guy, I can't even remember his name there, the Ace or whatever, I saw the matches. Do people actually believe that this was the greatest match of all time? Fuck no. I'm not going to bother naming the 10,000 matches that were better than that or whatever. an indie jobber against a Japanese guy that 99% of wrestling fans don't know. There, apparently, them having a long match is the greatest of all time, just because Dave Meltzer says it is. Bullshit. That's just his opinion. The man has an obvious crush on Kenny Omega. He also has a fetish for New Japan itself or whatever. So obviously, Kenny Omega that fucking talks in Japanese and he's fucking doing the kind of shit that gets Dave Meltzer excited in the pants or whatever. Of course, he's getting 7 stars there because he appeals directly to Dave Meltzer, who also appears to be a Japanese aficionado or lover or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's a character that speaks directly to Dave Meltzer, but it doesn't speak for me, Gerry. You know what I mean? I don't give 2 shits about if Kenny Omega likes Super Mario. That doesn't speak to me if he speaks Japanese. You understand? I have no reason to give a fuck because Kenny Omega can wrestle the Japanese style. You know what I mean? Oh, he's able to wrestle the Japanese style, which is strikes, German suplex, knee strike, German suplex, and it finishes with a running slap or something. You know what I mean? Personally, I like the style that works, which is WWE real matches with Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker, Ric Flair. I like guys like Triple H that can have a good wrestling match that people actually care about with characters or whatever. I don't need to see naked Japanese men with weird haircuts fucking spanking each other's ass for 25 minutes. That's not what I like. You know what I mean, Gerry?
Yeah.
So this shit doesn't speak to me. Just because Meltzer says it's 7 stars, I don't think that Meltzer is bigger than Christ there, Gerry, and that his opinion is the gospel truth of wrestling. You know, it's obvious he hates McMahon. You know, he always gives them a lower rating, shit like this. It's biased shit. He has an obvious crush for New Japan. Just because Meltzer claims he's the greatest of all time, Gerry. That's what they're claiming, these guys there. Because of this star rating and his career in Japan, he's the greatest of all time. Bull fucking shit. Having a couple of Japanese matches for an hour doesn't make him the greatest of all time. Selling crowd after crowd for 20 years like Hulk Hogan, that's the greatest of all time. Having matches that millions and millions of people have seen and talked about. Matches they're still talking about from 30 years ago. That makes you a greatest of all time, not a subsector jacking off to Japanese fetish stuff. They say it's 7 stars. Suddenly you're the best of all time. Get the fuck out of here, you retarded bastards. You know what I'm saying? I'm fucking fed up of this shit, straight up, Gerry. It's retarded and it's killing the wrestling community.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I agree 100%. I think the community itself is just like back in the day, it used to be like, remember TNA versus WWE, right? And it's exactly the same thing. But the people that were supporting TNA, the kind of SJW kind of weirdos with their fucking multicolored hair and everything, have just bounced on that. And then that's what AEW's become. And what's happened is that AEW, whether you like to admit it or not, and this is proven, they've essentially, they were paying off these these actual news sites that were giving a bit of the bubbly, giving them packages to make positive reviews to AEW, and that's why I'm not really a fan of AEW. But my whole thing behind the entire thing with Kenny Omega is his promos to me, I feel like are boring. Call me old-fashioned, but I believe that the following wrestler should have the following things. Be good at wrestling. And when I mean be good at wrestling, I'm not saying do kicks, flips, and all that kind of weirdo shit. If you're a high flyer, yes. If you're a guy like Jeff Hardy or Rey Mysterio, absolutely, if that's your style. But everybody that has that style in the entire roster, it dilutes what the actual the actual roster is, in my opinion.
So exactly, Gerry. There's more to wrestling than just fucking knee strikes and Tiger Bomb 98. There's also selling that goes into it, getting fans into it for real with real selling, which Kenny Omega doesn't do. He just looks like a big goofy clown out there. Go ahead, Gerry.
But no, I agree, because I think the selling is a massive part of it, like selling a move, like showing the power of a move. For example, like Stone Cold Steve Austin Stunner, you know, Triple H's pedigree, you know, The Rock's rock bottom, even the People's Elbow, while it looks ridiculous, and this goes into our next thing, charisma. Kenny Omega has no charisma. See this kind of fake philosophy from wrestling fans saying that Kenny Omega has some type of charisma. He has no charisma. The guy can barely talk. The man doesn't know whether he's an Asian or whether whatever the hell he is, okay? He's just some curly-haired guy that does fingerless things like this here, and that's it. That's all I see as an actual wrestling fan. That's what I see. The other option, promo ability. He's not good at promos. It goes back into the whole charisma thing. Physique. Now, while he might have the best physique to a certain degree for, you know, an average wrestler, if you look at other wrestlers across the board, even sometimes in AEW, some wrestlers have really good physiques. This philosophy that wrestlers don't need good physiques, yes, you got the rarity of Mick Foley, etc., but they compensated for that because they did the promos, the hardcore stuff. You can have a wrestler that does that. But whenever you want to be proper, prime, A-star, main event like a Ric Flair or a Stone Cold or a Hulk Hogan or a Lashley, I would even put him in that category. I know a lot of people disagree with me that, but I think WWE are fucking up Lashley at this point with him. That's the thing. You need a physique. Kenny Omega just looks like some nerd that likes to work out in the weekends. That's just my opinion.
He is a nerd. He is a nerd. When you see him fucking off camera, or like when they're doing their little fucking buddy camera show on YouTube and he's there, he just looks like a total fucking nerd, geek, loser kind of guy. This goofy stuff. Yeah, guys, I'm playing Zelda. Like, the guy just looks like a fucking nerd. He doesn't scream superstar to me, you know what I mean?
You know what the thing is as well? This is what I don't like. I think, this is from me, I personally, and this applies to Finn Balor as well, I believe that wrestlers that use pop culture, you can use it once in a while, but if you're using it just for an entrance, that doesn't make you an automatic great wrestler. This guy did the whole it was like the it was like this indie game where he had a skull thing, putting the hoodie on, and he expected people to mark out. You can do that once in a while, but don't make that just because you do that doesn't make you an automatic, fantastic, amazing wrestler. I find it totally ridiculous. Imagine me walking in here with a Boba Fett t-shirt, right? You know, Boba Fett, the greatest Star Wars character ever, by the way. Yeah, I'm a nerd, but I know what's nerdy and what's dirty, WJ. But imagine if I walked in, right, with a Boba Fett t-shirt, right? And I went, hey, guys, I'm Boba Fett. My God, he's an amazing wrestler. He likes what I like.
That's what they did with Kenny with this white suit he had. That's what you're talking about there. It's from some obscure game or cartoon. I don't fucking know.
And it's indie games. That's the thing. It's indie games. Because there's a subgenre of video games called indie games. And Kenny Omega likes indie games. Indie games are fucking shit. I just want to make it perfectly clear. I like my Grand Theft Autos. I like my Call of Duties, WJ. Call me old-fashioned. But
like usually we like wrestlers because they did cool stuff. The NWO would beat people down. It was cool visually. It was funny, stuff like this. You had good promos. These guys fucking mark out because he comes out dressed as some kind of goofy character that nobody fucking knows. Why is this cool? Like, this is the kind of stuff that women wrestlers do, the indie women there, so they can beg for money online. They dress up like Chun-Li from Street Fighter, like little sluts to make money or whatever. And then you have Kenny Omega doing the same thing. Kenny comes out dressed like Chun-Li, and these guys are jacking off to this. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? That's not what wrestling's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, imagine, like, for anything, like even basketball, like Michael Jordan was a basketball player. It's about slam dunk. It's not about if fucking Michael Jordan likes anime that you want to jack off to him. It's not how things work. You know what I mean? People should like Kenny Omega because he's apparently good, which he isn't. It's people like him because of Dave Meltzer, basically. And this stuff with the promos, like you said, first of all, he's not a draw. He's not drawing shit. 2 weeks ago, we had a world title on TV, 662,000 viewers. That's it. He's there again this week with his buddies of the Bullet Club or whatever, 700,000. This shit isn't working. He's not the greatest of all time. Far from it there. This whole thing is a fucking joke and a half. It really is there. Not a draw. And like you said, the promos, these promos he's been doing with Don Callis. The promos all year he's been doing were just shitty. Like, there's zero life to his promos. And these promos with Don Callis, I don't even know what the fuck he's trying to be. It's like a retarded Ric Flair. Like if Ric Flair got dumped on his head as a kid and became retarded. Oh, I'm here, Don Callis. Don
Callis?
Like, what is this? This was a plan all along. And like, Don Callis is fucking boring as shit. This guy's fucking super boring. I don't know. Like,
said that. Oh my god.
Because he's friends with Kenny Omega, now people are pretending to mark out for this guy. Like Don Callis, nobody ever gave a fuck. Oh, he was the Jackal. Who cares? Who the fuck cared about the Jackal? For fuck's sakes. This is retarded, though, for real. Nobody ever gave a fuck about this guy. But because he's friends with Kenny, he's apparently a big star, a big deal. They're on TNA. This guy controls the whole TNA. They get 10,000 views a week, for God's sake. You know, and this is the guy they bring in for ratings. Fucking boring shit, dry promos or whatever. Yeah, me and Kenny, we plan the whole thing. We're friends. It's like you hear fucking crickets, for God's sake. You know what I mean? This is cheap. Fucking cheap big time. His promos suck. In order to be the greatest of all time, you have to at least be able to talk a little bit, for God's sake. The fact that we're even talking about him not being greatest of all time, like you have to go out of your way to fucking explain that he isn't, is retarded. You know what I mean? With all the great wrestlers and wrestling that we've had. A guy wrestles a few matches in Japan and he's the greatest of all time. He can't even talk. You know, I don't want to sound like Jim Cornette, but the stuff he says is true. With the finger bangs and the goofy faces and The way he fucking runs in the ring looking all weird and shit. You know what I mean? I don't see a star here. I see a fucking goof is what I see. You know what I mean? Coming out with the brooms or whatever and dancing to brooms or the entrance, whatever the fuck this is. Oh, Kenny. They call him the cleaner because he used to clean his games by blowing in them.
That's just stupid fucking me. Like, that's just the dumbest. That
when
like
I
I'm
was
so,
like,
this is the dumbest. I'm the cleaner, like the Undertaker, the survival assassin, the cleaner.
and it's because he like when I had a Nintendo, the Nintendo would fuck up. You blew in the game or whatever. But imagine like top bragging about yourself for just blowing in the Nintendo game, like the way you fucking if you got dust on the CD, you fucking wipe the CD before putting it in. Hey, look, I'm the wiper there. I just wiped the CD before I put it in. Oh man, he's the wiper. You know what I'm saying? And then indie fans mark out for that. Oh man, that's the cleaner. He blew in game. Like, why the fuck would I care about this retarded garbage? This makes no sense at all, this whole thing there.
If this man was in the Attitude Era WJ, he would be a jobber. Stop lying to yourselves. If you put Kenny Omega, hypothetically speaking, you put him, the meth head Cody Rhodes, you put the Young Bucks in there. First of all, Young Bucks aren't even on the same level as the Hardy Boys. Don't give me that crap. They're not. They're just not, okay? You put anyone in that AEW spot with any of the guys from the Attitude Era, wouldn't even lick their boots. Kenny Omega would be on, even at the mid-card at best, he would just not be on the same level as some of these. And by the way, that goes for some of the other WWE talent currently on today as well, by the way. I'm not going to be biased and all that there, but if you say Kenny Omega is the greatest of all time, if you take anyone from the modern era, an argue could be for CM Punk, you know, before he went to UFC and fucking dropped his stock for that. You could arguably obviously have modern Triple H in there. There's some wrestlers that you could have in there, but I tell you one thing, Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega aren't in the top 100 when it comes to best wrestlers of all time. Period. And the fact that they're not, the fact that these guys aren't thriving, this is the thing with being a wrestler. If I wanted to be a wrestler, okay, I got myself jacked up, got the roids, WJ, the roids there. What I would do is 100% strive to be a best. Be all five. Make sure I got the charisma, the wrestling factor, the promo ability, the marketing, everything it is to make sure that I'm the best. These guys don't strive for that. They don't strive for that. They don't strive to be the best. Sums up this generation. It's because this generation doesn't care anymore, and that's the problem with Kenny Omega. He's not striving to be the greatest of all time. He's not striving to be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's not striving to be the next Rock.
He had a fucking attitude there when he was doing tag teams and putting people over. And it was an attitude that he was already a big established star. And then it was his turn to fucking put other people over. That's what he was acting like the first year they were on TV. He was doing fuck all, absolutely nothing. And in interviews, he says that he's, it's his turn to put people over. He hasn't done fuck all. He had a couple matches in Japan. The rest is all weirdo shit, like wrestling the fucking doll or whatever. He wrestled a 9-year-old girl. It's all a bunch of weirdo, retarded garbage he did in Japan. And a couple of overrated matches against Japanese guys. Again, I don't get horny because he wrestles the Japanese style. So, it's a subjective thing, wrestling. Just because Meltzer's favorite style is Japanese, and because Kenny wrestles like that and the Japanese fans accept him, and that apparently excites Meltzer that this is taking place. It doesn't excite me, nor should it excite any other normal thinking man. Oh man, the fact that you're accepted by the Japanese crowd makes me want to get fucked up the ass. Oh my god, I'm excited. Like who's you know what I mean? None of this makes sense there, but I like wrestlers. Like I grew up watching Bret Hart. He had good matches. It wasn't about Bret Hart playing video games and coming out with brooms and stuff like this. It wasn't about Bret Hart coming up with a GMO there that made him the greatest of all time or whatever. It was about being a wrestler. You know what I mean? And the stuff that he does on the show itself, like as an EVP, like the women's division, his Japanese woman fetish stuff there that he pushes these women from Stardom, Japan. These girls are boring and they're no good. And the division sucks or whatever. You know what I mean? Everybody says that their division is bad. He was the guy running it. You know what I'm saying? He does a lot of goofy decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like he was saying recently, I feel bad for anybody who doesn't agree that the tag team division is just as popular as the world title. It's like weird stuff. Like he said this, like you're supposed to sit there, oh God, how much of a goof was I to not think that the world title and the tag team are on the same level. God, I feel embarrassed with myself. This guy's a moron. You know what I mean? The stuff he says is just retarded. A lot of the stuff he says in the interviews, it doesn't make sense. He doesn't have a good mind for wrestling. If this is his ideas that he's coming up with, people dressed up like Street Fighter in wrestling matches. They did the thing of Street Fighter, fucking golly gee there. Golly fucking gee, they did Street Fighter reference in the match. You know what I mean? I don't get why this should be a thing, Gerry. Why we should be jacking off to this. There's no reason for it. Kenny Omega, not the greatest of all time. Overall, I think his wrestling is fucking goofy. His promos are cheap. Like the guy doesn't have a personality. It's like he's like one of those weird fucking goofy guys. Like these introverted guys, you know what I mean? Gerry is just once in a while. I don't see the personality, the goofiness, the brooms, the video games. I think the guy sucks overall, Gerry. That's my opinion. He can do running knee strikes, but it looks goofy and stupid, the stuff he does. Personally, I just don't think that should be his wrestling style or whatever. That's more for like weird shit there. This Japanese fetish stuff. He's wrestling like a Japanese guy. He tries to be Japanese. Maybe he could be a character in a game, Gerry. It's, you know what I'm saying? This could be something like on a weird TV show, Kenny Omega, who wants to be Japanese or whatever. Maybe this is okay. Maybe on one of these Adult Swim TV show, Gerry, or something, there's a retarded character called Kenny who loves his indie game and he wants to be Japanese, but to tell us that a goofy clown retard like this is a big time serious wrestler when he ain't drawing shit except flies or whatever and looking like a goof. When you're telling us that this guy is not only a legit superstar, but to tell us that he's the greatest of all time, I think this goes beyond common sense. It's beyond anything. This is like a weird sexual Japanese fetish subsector there that they all jack off to Meltzer. Meltzer in turns jacking off to Kenny, and Kenny's jerking off to fucking video games. For fuck's sakes, what the fuck are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing here, Gerry? Like, really there?
The thing, and I want to preference this, like, weird isn't always bad. Like, I like, Deadpool, for example. I like South Park, Adult Swim. The Eric Andre show is a perfect example. It's weird and funny.
Yeah, that I've seen that, Eric Andre. It's like extreme shit that he does to people that don't expect it. And it can be funny, right? But
Kenny Omega does that, but in the safety of a ring, that's not funny. It's just like there's nothing funny about it. And I think
even the Eric Andre would be more badass kind of feel than Kenny. Kenny's like, I don't know what he is, how to describe it, Gerry. He's like a big goof dressed in a fucking Dragon Ball Z costume, wrestling a blow-up doll. How do you fucking praise this? On what kind of plays do you rate this? Not as greatest of all time. That's for fucking sure there. For God's sake. Sorry, go ahead, Gerry.
I was going to say, like, Scott brings up about NXT becoming very stale and stuff, and I agree. But this is the thing. See the whole NXT stuff? Everybody said NXT was amazing. Everybody thought NXT was amazing. These indie guys thought NXT was amazing. But then the moment AEW came in, they automatically turned against NXT thinking that it's WWE. And this goes back to what I'm saying. Alternative isn't always better. Sometimes you have a rarity of alternative music. Kurt Cobain. Sometimes the odd indie game can be pretty good. Sometimes it can hit. Sometimes it can miss. Sometimes even some indie wrestling can be quite good. But Kenny Omega is fucking trash, in my opinion. And he's terrible. I don't know why people like him. I've never got why
they were told to by Meltzer. That's why, Gerry. They all heard about him, true Meltzer. Oh, he's the best. The indie opinion is that he's the best. They hear this before going in. Oh, yeah, fuck WWE. Kenny, New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom. They go into it brainwash before they go in. Then they're just jacking off and buying T-shirts by the time the match is finished because they're just fucking told to do this. Wrestling works in bandwagons, Gerry, a lot of it there. And this is, it's the same fucking thing there. A goofy, weird fucking bandwagon. I don't know if I can see any comments on my end there. Golden era, comparing these guys to now, you really see the difference. Yes. It's a weird fucking difference for sure there. The only reason wrestling is even a thing nowadays is because it's connection to pop culture. Look at all the mainstream actors who promote WWE. I think that's because they're asked to do it for money there, but wrestling's dying a rapid death, folks. WWE is still making money there. Like, even if WWE, if the ratings go down in the States, they're gonna make money even like with India on its own. They're doing a new thing to cater to the Indians. because they're going to be making money off that shit. WJ, what do you think about the Bullet Club? Well, it's just an indie version of the NWO, pretty much. Apparently, Finn Balor started this shit. Then it was AJ Styles, and then Kenny just took AJ's place. So anybody goes to Japan, they wrestle in Ring of Honor or or Ring of Honor. They're going to hire them after they go to Japan. Somebody's on the indies. He's blowing the dick of some of these fucking indie darling. They go wrestle for a shitty company in Japan. Then, oh, hey, guys, I wrestled in Japan. And then they start wrestling for Shikara. And because they wrestle for Shikara, they go to DDT Japan. And then because they wrestle in DDT Japan, they go to Ring of Honor. And then because they're in Ring of Honor, they go to New Japan. Then suddenly Dave Meltzer bows down, sucks the fucking dick of the guy. Then the guy joins Bullet Club. Boom, he's apparently a giant star. That's what it's for. That's what it kind of looks like to me. The Bullet Club, pretty much, Gerry. It's a fucking in and out rotation of American guys. They come in, they wrestle in Japan, they're in Bullet Club, then they're big stars like Marty Scurll. Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, like he's not Marty Scurll guy, and he's fond of the younger variety, should we say. That's why he's no longer another promoter. I don't know if you knew that or not, WJ.
Well, apparently he did something, I don't know what, but like
bit of diddling, bit of Jimmy Savile.
It's like this guy Marty Scurll, he's a fucking midget, because he's friends with them, and he was a part of this group. He went to Japan. He's a big star. And he signed with ROH. He has creative freedom. Who the fuck is he? Why would ROH even give him creative freedom?
Or something? It just looks like they've all got these like weird anime kind of features. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin never needed that. All he had was a pair of trunks and promo ability and a few beers. That's it. You know what I mean? You don't need these weird anime stuff. Like if any, it goes back to what I said. If any of these guys were in the Attitude Era or in the prime of WCW, when WCW was good, nothing. Could you imagine if Kenny Omega came in and went, Hulk Hogan, can I go to the end? And on the speaking of which, and this is what fucking pisses me off, these guys bash Hulk Hogan so much, right? They bash Hulk Hogan so much when this is the man that founded the NWO.
They rip him up. That's all it is.
Like, it's fucking psycho. It's fucking unbelievable that these people, they have, and Tony Khan, you nerdy fucking retard bastard, he goes in there and he says, oh, Hulk Hogan's not welcome in AEW. Well, you just look at most of your roster. Most of your roster copy the NWO of the original member, Hulk Hogan. You can talk about what he's done in the past.
That's what Bullet Club is. It's a big rip-off of NWO. It's like Kenny Omega was kind of trying to look like a Hogan kind of character, the way he was dressed, that goofy picture of him and the ropes that you see there. Yeah. He kind of looked like he was trying to look like that. Basically, it's a bunch of amateur fucking goofs together, indie losers together, pretending to be the NWO, doing the hand gestures. There was actually a real NWO with legit cool guys in it and real wrestling stars. These guys are just pretending to be that, doing too sweet. It's not, they weren't a part of real shit like the NWO, these guys there. And trying to rip off DX, the Young Bucks, just ripping off DX, and they're proud of getting cease and desist. You're fucking copycats, crooks. who can't come up with your own shit. The Young
They even
Bucks
like
are
New Day, WJ.
that they rip off everything. These two little fucking goofs. I hate these two guys big time. Well, I don't hate them there, but I can't stand them, Gerry. Just their attitude and that fuck. These are guys we should do a vid about them, a live vid about them as well, Gerry, at some point.
I'm actually thinking of doing, if you want, we can do a second Rant series, because I did a Rant series on the Young Bucks before. I was thinking of doing it in edited form. Work a little bit, because I've got the editor and stuff. Work a bit of magic or WJ, you know what I mean? I've now finally got the hang of it now with this editor and stuff. It's a lot more simpler, so we'll get into more of it, but we now have like the technology to do this stuff now, so that's the reason why we're setting up a channel. But what I was gonna say to you, Double J, if I can, is that this is the one thing that pisses me off, and I said this before. These guys have such a distaste against Hulk Hogan. Okay, they have such a distaste. When one of their commentators, Excalibur, said the N-word live on a show.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, the Excalibur guy said the N-word live on a show. Not only that, but these guys are so hypocritical that they just rip off Hulk Hogan. Let's just call it like it is. They rip off the NWO with Hulk Hogan. And then Tony Khan has the audacity to say that Hulk Hogan can't be on in AEW. I'll tell you exactly what happened. Tony Khan, I don't think, has a problem with Hulk Hogan. What I think is that AJ Styles, with all due respect to him, has a problem with Hulk Hogan. He even said it. Kenny Omega has a problem with Hulk Hogan. The Young Bucks have got a problem with Hulk Hogan, etc., etc. They got problems with him, whatever it might be. You got a problem with this guy? That's totally fine. But don't rip off his shit and be hypocrites and rip off the NWO and be absolute hypocritical assholes. Okay? Kevin Nash should have never give these morons the fucking chance to actually do the Bullet Club, the 444 life. He should have never given them the chance to do it. And I love Kevin Nash. I think he's amazing. I know people don't agree with that. I like Kevin Nash, okay? He wasn't the best wrestler in the world, but he had charisma and he knew how to get money. And that's why I respect Kevin Nash. But the thing is,
because Kevin Nash wanted to probably join the group and make some easy money off those guys. You know what I mean?
And they didn't let him in.
Kevin Nash doesn't own the product to say if it's okay, which is why they got nailed with cease and desist, because they're stealing other people's property. Doesn't make them cool. They're just fucking rip-off artists, you know?
Well, it turns out that cease and assist didn't happen. Did you know that, WJ?
No, were they making it up to try to look cool?
Yeah, turns out the cease and assist, a lot of people don't know this. Breaking news there, Jan. But the cease and assist never happened. WWE never gave him a cease and assist for doing that. They never did it. But what happened was that the Young Bucks and all seen this on the news and took advantage of it, and it made it look as if it was a cease and assist. And WWE were like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" Could you imagine if, for example, let's just say some other guy said, "Hey guys, welcome to another edition of blah 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 blah. Let's get into it, right?" And then he pretended he went, "Oh, General Jerry suing me for saying that." Okay, and then they just run with it. You know, remember that goofy moron that said he was General Jerry on No DQ? Do you remember that? Like the guy that tried to be General Jerry on there. It's almost as if I turned around and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm doing a cease and assist on him," and then he rolls with it. It doesn't make any sense. So, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous to me, to be honest. I find the indie wrestling is a big fucking joke, and they're the most hypocritical fucks in the world by banning Hulk Hogan. Arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. Despite what you think about him, whatever it might be, he is still the greatest wrestler of all time. He's still the greatest. I remember I seen some comments saying, Hulk Hogan isn't even in my top 100. Are you people on crack cocaine? What's wrong with you people? Turn around saying Hulk Hogan is in your top 100. What if he's not your number one? I 100% understand. But top 100? Are you high? Like, are you people fucking serious? There was people Ric Flair, who, in my opinion, is number one greatest of all time. I believe Ric Flair is number one greatest of all time. These people said Ric Flair isn't in my top 100. You people are idiots. You fucking idiots. You British assholes on YouTube with your stupid news sites. You goddamn morons with your stupid bullshit opinions. These people are idiots, WJ. I'm getting I am fired up here.
Well, it's like some kind of weird fucking goofy fashion show they're putting on there that they think they're cool when they trash real wrestlers. You know what I mean? And you hear stuff like this, like the Road Warriors couldn't lace the Young Bucks' boots. And, it's like a weird, retarded sect, of wrestling fans there, like a small, tiny, retarded group there. But sadly, they're fucking loud and they're on every fucking post because they're hardcore fans, right? They spend 12 hours a day on the internet just doing wrestling shit, right? So they're all over the place spreading this fucking garbage, spreading weirdo fucking pro AEW anti-WWE propaganda. They're fucking doing everything they can. They're just spewing a bunch of retarded nonsense all day long. And they think it's cool to do this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's a sad state of affairs. And like I said earlier, it's ruining the wrestling community. It is.
Why is this is the thing I have an issue with WWE. Why are they not bashing AEW and NXT? Because if it's okay for fucking AEW to do it, why is it? And that's my problem with Vince. Why is he not bashing them? Like, why is he not like doing little subtle jabs at them? Like, like he did with WCW. Because Vince, whether people like to admit it or not, and like, look, I'm not the biggest fan of Vince McMahon in the world, but he doesn't find AEW a threat. I know that might sting for some people. AEW's not a threat. 600, 700 views. There's YouTubers that get that in 1 hour. What does that tell you?
It's because McMahon has to take...
Some kid plays video games. He plays GTA. He gets 600,000 live viewers. You think Vince McMahon's going to curse so much about these idiots that can't scroll? Vince McMahon has put NXT, and I'm telling you right now, this is the game plan for WWE. They put NXT in there to compete with AEW so that these two can compete, and then SmackDown and Raw do their own thing. That's all it is. Like, and people visually don't see that. The people just don't see that. Like, they don't visually see, okay, shit, AEW, what's this whole, we're not a competition to WWE? Every time I watch an AEW show, they're bashing the hell out of WWE.
They're like, that's them trying to have their cake and eat it too. It's a jab at WWE every 5 minutes, and then you have Cody Rhodes getting on Twitter trying to act like he's taking the high road or whatever. Get the fuck out, goof there.
And he's sitting there smashing the fucking throne and everything. And then only a few years ago, he was playing politician saying, oh, WWE wasn't really that bad. It wasn't really that bad. And then all of a sudden, he's on AEW bashing Roman Reigns, claiming steroids. You're on steroids, you little midget, little meth head. Fuck, that's what I tell you right now. He is. Anyone that thinks Cody Rhodes isn't doing you're full of crap, okay? Him and his tattooed neck can't cover that shit up. I'm sorry. I'm just sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of these idiots.
Wrestle talk is another problem. Well, that's what they're doing. A lot of the dirt sheets, it's just spreading that propaganda. Fucking Dave Meltzer reports something. They all fucking run with it, even if it's not true. Like a lot of his stuff. Oh, the next week plans change. Though they must have rewrote the script and then, oh, McMahon is so insane. He's rewriting the script. No, it's Meltzer making predictions. They don't come true. then he just claims that they rewrote and changed the script and this and that. And then these goofs, oh yeah, McMahon's such a vile psychopath, changing the script. And it's all fucking clickbait and all kind of fucking weird shit. And these fucking websites run with it to make money off the marks that are buying the t-shirts of the indies. You know, these websites want the money there. You know what I mean?
Right, WJ, I'm going to ask you a question. What's the number one selling wrestling t-shirt every month? What do you think it is?
You talking in WWE or just the indies?
Everywhere. I'm talking Amazon. I'm talking everywhere. What do you think is the t-shirt that is the what might be known as the Grand Theft Auto 5, if you would say, of t-shirts? What do you think it is? What would you think it is?
Maybe back in the day there was the Austin 316 shirt there. I'm not
Austin 316, NWO, and The Rock. Even today, these three t-shirts are the most sold out t-shirts today. Okay? Mm-hmm. You want to know what is not the most sold out t-shirts today? The Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, AEW. The only reason why they brought Sting in is for merchandise sales. And even that, what they're doing, I'm kind of starting to scratch my head what they're doing with Sting. Even I'm scratching my head what they're doing with Sting, because I'm very concerned about what they're doing with Sting, to be honest with you. I hope it's cinematic. You know what I mean? But it's just, you know, like, I can kind of understand the Sting going to AEW at the same time, because WWE did fuck him up. I will say that. I was very, very angry at that, but I don't know. It's a disgrace.
Probably a goofy tag team match against Team Taz. He comes in, throws a few punches, maybe hits the sharpshooter or the Scorpion Deathlock or whatever there, and something like that. Something simple there. But it's pretty embarrassing. He's very old. He has a broken neck or whatever, and he just comes out every week, and there's nothing he can really do.
Yeah.
And the same people are complaining about Goldberg being there. Like, I'm not saying I'm happy Goldberg is there, but like, if you're going to be super happy for a guy like Sting who clearly can't go anymore, why are you shitting on Goldberg then? Like, it makes no sense.
And I like Goldberg. Like, I know me and WJ have our differences about Goldberg, but I like Goldberg. And as you said there, mate, like, why is people celebrating Sting, but they're not celebrating Goldberg? Why is it okay for this old... Remember that old fella that faced Magnus in was it NWA Power? Do you remember that old guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the steroid old guy that should be in a nursing home. They all celebrated him, WJ, but not Goldberg.
His last name was Storm. I don't remember the first name.
You know, a fucking nobody, WJ, is what he is. Fucking nobody. And people celebrated him coming in. Everyone said, oh man, I can't wait till Storm comes in. Goldberg, oh, I can't stand Goldberg. I tell you what, Goldberg's
Tim Storm, Mark St. Pierre, Tim Storm, that's
Tim
it.
Tim Storm, it's a storm in my hole. I don't know about idiots. They're a bunch of fucking morons. You people are not our channel, of course. Everyone's all very reasonable in the wrestling. By the way, subscribe to your page there, WJ, isn't that right? Or page.
What? Yes, this channel, the Wrestling Juggernauts channel there. If you're coming in there and you're seeing this for the first time, you're a guy jacking off to Kenny Omega there. Well, don't subscribe. Never mind. Well, actually, subscribe anyway there. Come on, you know.
We need it there, John. I'll post the link there. So if people want to interact with us, have a wee chat there you go.
Listen, we don't like what you like, maybe there, but we're good people. Well, Gerry's a nice guy. Me, I'm not.
Everyone says WJ's a nice guy as well. He can.
I like the
WJ
fine things there.
It's the fine things. Where's the Gilmore Girls? Are they still there? Yes!
They're going to wrestle the Young Bucks next week, Gerry.
I think every video should have at least one appearance from the Gilmore Girls. Do you know the way the Smart Busters say "fuck Cody Rhodes"? We should like occasionally just do one thing with the Gilmore Girls there. That's what I think there. Like, anyway, is there anything else we got to add here, WJ, about Kenny Omega?
It is what it is. I think it's a fucking joke and a half. Like, clearly, like, straight up, greatest of all time. Fuck no, that's easy to fucking, and just like I said, a guy, because he wrestles the Japanese style and would cater to the Japanese crowd by talking like them and trying to be like them, that doesn't give me a reason to like this guy, Just because Dave Meltzer gave him a very high opinion or a very high grade on a few matches doesn't mean I have to fucking jack off to a fake star. You know what I mean? That's what he is, Gerry, a fake star. They're not a real fucking star. It's some kind of weird, retarded sect spewing bullshit, and they all agree with the same talking points, and basically they adore everything indie and hate WWE. That's the talking point. That's all it takes for these guys. You bash WWE and praise Japanese. You can make money off these idiots there, and that's what they're all doing. Meltzer, Jericho, fucking What Culture, and these other fucking news sites, they're all doing the same thing. They want their fucking share of the fucking t-shirt money from these big indie fan retards, you know what I mean? But me, I ain't fucking following this garbage. It's killing the community. Like, TNA versus WWE was toxic as shit, but this is like 10 times worse, where they're bringing in weird Japanese fetish stuff into it, and Darby Allin is better than The Undertaker. Like, you won't. It's they haven't said this specifically, but it's shit like this. Like, they put picture of Darby Allin is better than somebody, and it's all retarded trash opinions by a bunch of fucking half-wits that want to jack off to Japanese male wrestlers there. And I don't relate to this trash. I don't relate to this nonsense. And I'm not going to be fucking forced to bow down to this garbage, Gerry. Fuck it there. I grew up watching real wrestling, WWE, WCW there. It wasn't about Sting. Well, Sting was dressed like the Crow, Gerry, there, or something. That's kind of Japanese related there, but he's an AEW too, Gerry. Go figure, for fuck's sake, man. Ric Flair didn't fucking come out dressed as video game characters there. Maybe he did stuff with other men backstage, Gerry. I'm not sure, but maybe not there, but at least they didn't advertise it, Gerry. Ric Flair was buck naked a few times, Gerry. God damn it. Is there a real man, Hogan? There's rumors he had sex with Brutus Beefcake. You know what? Maybe this whole wrestling thing overall is just going down the drain, Gerry. Fuck. But we're going to be here talking about it, Gerry, on Wrestling Juggernauts. We're going down with the ship, Gerry. If we have to start reviewing MLW wrestling, that's what we'll start doing, Gerry.
Well, we're here to stay. A lot of people think, oh, this channel's going away. It's not going away. Because with my channel and stuff, I want to go in somewhat of a different direction. I want to do wrestling stuff on here primarily. I actually have more fun doing it on a separate channel. I want to actually do different stuff on the general Gerry channel. So you want to check my wrestling content, subscribe today, boys.
Subscribe today, ladies and gentlemen. New direction, new era there. Fuck it. It's something, folks.
Yeah.
Something there.
Well, WJ, you want to sign us out?
And Ringmaster Mike, Ric Flair got naked in front of women, of course. There.
Fair play to him. I'm only joking.
Tony Khan is gay, he wrote. Wednesday Night Wars, a load of shit. Well, fair play to you there. Fair play to you there. Until next time, peace.